In this video series, we're going to examine how to solve absolute value equations. And so before we start that process, we're going to look at the definition of absolute value equations and kind of break down why you solve it the certain way it does. And so the most basic definition of an absolute value is that it represents, and this is the key, it represents the distance the value or expression is from zero on the number line. And remember, that means that your distance is always going to be positive. Whenever you take the absolute value of a number expression, it has to result in a positive value because distance is always positive. The one exception to the rule is the absolute value of zero is zero. Zero is neither positive nor negative, and so it's just zero for it. And I want you to, when you're reading these problems, not just read them as the absolute value of. After you do that, interpret it using the definition. Get your mind to start thinking that way. That when you read an absolute value graph, also read it as the distance the expression is from zero. And that's going to help you with some of the more complicated and trickier problems. So if I have this basic absolute value equation, if the absolute value of x is equal to 6, what that means is the distance of x on the number line from 0 is 6 units. Well, if you're to think about that, that means it's either 6 or negative 6, because both of those are 6 units from 0 on the number line. So we have two solutions that our variable can become. And so when you are solving absolute value equations, when you're taking the absolute value of an expression, you need to split it into two equations. And so what this means is the absolute value of x plus 2 is equal to 5. Well, that means x plus 2 is located 5 units from 0 on the number line, which means it can be located at 5 or it can be located at negative 5. And so we split it into two equations and solve each one separately. So notice that the sign of the expression stays the same. Now, this is one mistake that many students make is they try and change inside the absolute value bar. Don't do that. You leave this x plus 2 alone, and then you split the answer into both the positive and the negative of what it is equal to. So a positive 5, we have a negative 5. So this is going to be our general setup for it. We notice that you're going to split into two equations when you're taking the absolute value of an expression. You solve each one separately and we'll check our answers. But this is the most basic approach. The key to anything dealing with absolute value equations is to interpret it as the distance the expression is from 0 on the number line, and that allows you to know why you split into two equations.